This MFL Mar Mac Coach Conversation brought to you by Havlicek Trucking, Meyer Auto Service, and Birdnow Chevrolet. Dan Anderson, head coach of the Bulldogs, joining us. And anyone who thought you guys would just cruise after clinching that number one seed in district's title in week number 7, well, they thought wrong, as you ended up beating Dyersville Beckman 61-0 last Friday night. And talk about just that urge, that sense of urgency, that adrenaline, that enthusiasm your kids showed, even though you already had that number one seed out of the district locked up.
They did. They showed a lot of enthusiasm. Our crowd was great. I mean, we reminded our kids, the importance of, of winning all of our games. But, Beckman was one that we've been waiting for since last year. Beckman beat us 41-7 in the regular season last year, and then 35-7 to knock us out of the quarterfinals, so we didn't get to the Dome last year. And Beckman had a really good team last year, and our coaches, our players, we had a year to stew on that. And Coach Pomerantz, my offensive coordinator, I can honestly say this: there's not a coach in the state of Iowa in any class, an assistant coach that puts as much time into watching film. He watched both of those films from last year. And he scripted out every single offensive play we ran, exactly how Beckman lined up to it. If we went in motion, how they adjusted to any one of our motions. And we had a year to, pick at their defense and figure out a scheme to exploit anything that they did. And obviously we did. Coach Pomerantz had a great game plan. We didn't run new plays. We just, variations of the plays we ran, changed our pass routes a little bit, changed our formations a little bit, to put our guys in more of an advantage to get us the look that we wanted. And when we did that, we exposed Beckman, and, I think we had 468 yards of offense at halftime and 47 points. So, did a great job there. Thought our special teams did a really nice job. Didn't give them any yards in special teams. And, our defense was played fastest I've ever seen them play, probably. I think we held Beckman to 10 total yards offense. I think they had negative 30 yards rushing in the game.
And your passing game definitely showed the ability to make some big plays. You had 8 completions, 4 went for touchdowns, and you averaged 40 yards a catch. Is that good?
Last I checked, that's pretty good. I mean, we were able to throw the ball down the field. Zach is doing such a great job of, you expect your quarterback to improve throughout the season, especially as a sophomore, but, he just he gets rid of the ball so much quicker than he did earlier in the season. He feels pressure better than he's felt before. He can escape any pressure, although there was very little pressure. He only got pressured once. He never got hit once in the ball game on Friday night, and so our offensive line did an outstanding job of giving him protection time to throw. But he really, made his fake on play action and set up quick and released the ball very quickly and didn't give the DBs any time to break on the ball and hit a lot of different receivers too. We had, Cade McElwain had a 65-yarder. Decker had a 50-yard reception. Brandon Christopherson had a 59-yard touchdown. Wyatt Powell had like a 65-yard touchdown, reception. So, we had a lot of different receivers and backs getting in the action. And, and Carver even threw a touchdown pass there out of Wildcat. So, we were able to put some things on film for our future opponents that we wanted them to see. We want teams to understand that we're not just a running team. If we could put up 323 yards passing, that's pretty impressive, and that's going to make some teams in the playoffs back off a bit.
And 40 yards per catch, but you also average 14 yards a rush, and I know that makes you grin ear to ear.
Yeah, and again, that's not one guy. That's that's the whole team, and so all that credit goes to the offensive linemen, and also to our receivers do a really good job blocking downfield. We nitpick things, we put things on our huddle. We have huddle notes. And so we go through our last game and Coach Pomerantz puts notes in there on every single offensive play on things we could have done better. Even if it was a 20-yard run, there's, why wasn't it a 60-yard touchdown run? You could have done this a little bit better. And, so we're perfectionists. We're always trying to improve at all, everything that we do. And, there are always things we can work on. We had too many penalties on Friday night. We had some really costly penalties. We had, I believe we had 2 touchdowns called back, one on a punt return and one on an interception return for block in the back. And there's some penalties as a coach I can accept. because we were playing extremely fast, physical, hard. I mean, the enthusiasm was there. But then you have some of those penalties that are just killers that, you don't have to do. And our kids got to understand that if we're playing in the playoffs and we're trying to get to the Unidome or to the finals, we can't have those kind of penalties. That can cost you a ball game. So we had a nice talk about that last night, watched some film as the team, and really, picked on those things where we hurt ourselves, because kids are playing with a lot of confidence right now. And, we feel like the only thing that can beat the Bulldogs is the Bulldogs.
And this week, you got Durant coming to town. Tell us about them.
Well, Nolan DeLong. Everybody better listen to that name. It's number 10 from Durant. He's rushed for 1,917 yards. Class 1A, that's tops in the state of Iowa. It's not only tops in 1A in the state of Iowa, but it's the second best kid is at 1,200 yards. So he's 700 yards ahead of second place. So they've got a Division I athlete at running back. He's big, he's fast, does everything for him. He punts, he plays wildcat quarterback. We have not seen an athlete like this year, and he is an exceptional athlete. And he will be playing on Saturdays on a full ride scholarship somewhere. So it's going to be a big challenge for our defense, because we haven't seen a guy like this. Now we have a really good run defense, and I think we rank in the top 3 in the state of Iowa in run defense, but we haven't seen a guy like this. And some coaches and some people I talk to, and they ask about him and DeLong, and they say, well, just key on him. And I'm like, that's a great idea. Why didn't the other coaches in the state of Iowa think of that earlier? Obviously everybody knows who Nolan DeLong is, and you got to stop Nolan DeLong. But the thing is, nobody's stopped Nolan DeLong yet. He averages 240 yards a game, and only one team has held him. Well, nobody's held him under 100. I think West Branch, who's 8-0 and ranked first, second, or third in different polls, they held him to 103 yards, and that was the lowest total he's had all year. And so it's going to be a great challenge for our defense. We're excited about the opportunity, and but they've got some really good athletes on that team.
What makes Nolan so good?
He's got a total package. I looked at I was curious. He looks fast on film. And so, Coach Kirkestu, one of our assistants and our track coach from last year, looked up his times from last year at state track, and he runs, he runs the same speed as Decker, and Decker placed third at state in the 100 2 years ago. And he's running those, 10.9s and stuff, and just blistering fast speed. But the kid is 6'1" and 200 pounds, and he's extremely fast. He's physical. You watch him on film. He also plays linebacker, and some of the hits he makes, they're pretty impressive. He's just an all-around athlete. He can do it all, and we have not seen a guy like this year. But our kids aren't intimidated. But we know we've got a big challenge ahead of us.
And you got a back like that. I'd imagine there's other guys out there that can make some plays for Durant as well. How much you got to be aware, knowing the fact that there's this one kid that gets all the attention, but I'm guessing, other guys that have the potential to beat you too.
Sure, there is. They've got a receiver, number 1. He's really physical. He plays corner for him, but he plays like a linebacker. He leads their team in receptions. By far, I think he's got 18 catches on the year. And so they've got some big offensive linemen. Obviously people say just key on DeLong to stop DeLong, but when you've got 2 offensive tackles that are 6'5", 260 pounds apiece blocking for him, they're going to get some push and create some openings for him. And so, you can't completely sell out, to stop Nolan DeLong, because they've got a couple of receivers that can catch the ball, and their quarterback sometimes will pull it. They run out of the gun, and they do a lot of read option. And although their quarterback isn't maybe an outstanding athlete, if you don't have anybody assigned to him, anybody can run through a hole that's 5 feet wide and nobody touches him. He's going to get good yards. So obviously there's other things you have to stop, but Nolan DeLong is definitely the number 1 guy that we have to stop this week.
All right, Coach, hopefully you can talk about a victory next week and a second round appearance in the playoffs next week. Keep your kids healthy. We wish you best of luck.
All right. Thanks, Darren.
This MFL Mar Mac Coach Conversation brought to you by Birdnow Chevrolet, Havlicek Trucking, and Meyer Auto Service.